happy 2018. 2017 is gone, no more. We cannot say I have this goal that I want to accomplish by the end of 2017. But here's the good thing, you have a whole nother year to focus on knocking some of those things off of your list as accomplished, checking them off. Click, tick, tick, tick. Done. One and done. I want to talk about setting realistic expectations with the goals that you set, because what I'm finding in having conversations with friends and clients and just like random people, because people just like to just talk to me randomly, is this feeling, this overwhelmed feeling of two specific feelings. One is like this sense of being re-energized and like woohoo and just really positive and like hitting the ground, just like running with it. And the second feeling is feeling depressed and feeling like you haven't accomplished anything in your life or the past year. You know, it's hard to not go through the process of doing an analysis or a year in review, which I do every year. I do a year in review and look back on the things that I have accomplished, and with that comes the realization of the things that you have not accomplished. And I know it can be really hard not to focus on the things that you haven't done, and you know, I'm guilty of that. But what I have learned to do through this process is to be a lot more kinder and adjusting how I set my goals accordingly. Now, I don't believe in, like, I don't set New Year's resolutions. I don't. I stopped doing that a long time ago because I automatically had an out. It's like a New Year's resolution. I don't have to accomplish that. It's just setting something without necessarily having expectations from honestly, like, past the first couple months of the year. And I wanted to get out of that cycle because I wanted to do some things. I wanted to have some accomplishments, and I had things that I wanted to do. So ever since I stopped doing that and truly focused on setting realistic goals and looking at those goals and the expectations and the requirements of said goals, it has helped me to, one, be kinder to myself, and two, to really see the requirement that is needed in order to achieve that goal. So I'm going to share with you how I set my goals for like a day, a week, a month, a year, or years, decades, how I set my goals. The first thing I do that I have done, and I suggest people do as well, is you have to figure out what it is that you are trying to accomplish in your life overall. A lot of people may define that as determining what your purpose is. What is it that you're trying to work towards? So for me, I'm trying to have a holistic practice that includes skincare and diet and nutrition and what we feed ourselves internally, externally, through our minds, our thoughts, because I've realized that it's all connected, it's interconnected, and it's hard for me to treat one symptom of 5 other things that I have to treat as well in order to affect this one thing that they may be seeking help with. So because I know I've been through that process, and I realize I've honestly sat down and said, this is what I want, this is the end game, then I've been able to figure out, okay, well, what does that look like? What does that look like from a financial standpoint? Like, how much do I want to make? How much do I need to make in order to thrive? I don't want to just survive. Like, I want to thrive when it comes to finances. I don't want to be living like paycheck to paycheck. I don't want that. Like, I'm not about that life at all. And I don't recommend that people go into a new business venture focused on just like paycheck to paycheck. You have to be realistic when you're setting your financial goals. And in that should be the requirement to pay yourself, and to plan for unknown expenses that may come up as well. So from the finance standpoint, you have those things that I have figured out. I have to figure out, okay, well, how am I going to go about doing that? How do I want to deliver my services? And you break it down, and then you dive a little deeper, and you dive a little deeper, and you dive a little deeper. And it's a constant diving of deeper, going back, re-evaluating your goal, re-evaluating what you need to do from a daily standpoint, a weekly, monthly, and yearly standpoint, quarterly standpoint, what have you. It's always a constant reevaluation process that you go through when you have outlined and defined what your purpose is and what that looks like on a very detailed level. You have to be very specific in terms of what it is you're trying to accomplish, and to be extremely bold in setting those outcomes that you would like to come out of it. I think if we were a lot more bold, we would be a lot more happier in our life, and for sure we would be. With all that comes the need to be realistic, but also to be realistically outside of your comfort zone. So what do I mean by that? What I mean by that statement is, a lot of times we create this story in terms of, we put a cap on what we should humbly expect. And, I get that. But I think for me, what I've learned through this practice is you should be humble at all levels. Even if you have millions of dollars, you should be grateful and still be humble in the money that you have, the wealth that you have. It's nothing wrong with being bold and trying or setting very bold goals and expectations and outcomes that come from your goals. The thing is, you have to be willing to commit to the time and the effort, and to be realistic in terms of the hustle, the drive, the commitment that's required to reach that goal. That's where I find a lot of people, myself included until I really figured this out, keeps people from achieving their goals. You have to set realistic expectations, requirements, and you have to be extremely specific what it is that you want. What is the outcome? If you don't define the outcome in a very detailed, specific way, it's very vague. It'll show up in a very vague way. So if you have a goal, be bold in setting very specific, detailed requirements, what it looks like for you, and to push yourself and challenge yourself to be bold in thinking outside of your comfort zone in terms of the stories we tell ourselves that we should be okay with operating at a certain level, because we don't want to seem greedy or what have you. The thing that I feel is, if you're putting in the time and effort and your heart and soul into things, it will come to fruition. What is meant for you, no one can take from you. No one can take that from you. And once you realize that reality, and you, I know for me, I can honestly say that when I am on the right path when I'm doing the things that I need to be doing, that I should be doing, that are truly aligned with my purpose, things and people fall into place like never before. It's the most amazing process that I can say that I have experienced. So keep that in mind when you're setting your goals and you're being very bold with the expectations of the outcomes that you would love to come from these goals, because the grace and mercy that comes from being bold and showing up and getting off of your knees from asking for these things, to get up and put the work and the time and the effort and commitment into it, you will be rewarded, because you are showing up for yourself and you are doing what is required and expected of you in order to move you towards achieving that goal that is aligned to your purpose, that provides you with a sense of peace. For me, that's how I define my purpose. When I'm truly working and living in my purpose, my mind is at peace. My heart and soul are calm. So if you have goals, or you have things that you're working on, and it seems like it's just so difficult of a road, and there's always something after another, I challenge you to take a step back and to look and see and really question whether you're going about it the right way. Are you approaching it the right way? Is this the best use of who you are meant to show up and exist in this world? I know for me, I look back on the times in my life where it was just a constant battle trying to work towards something, and it was just always so difficult. It's always like running into a wall. And it's not to say that things aren't difficult. Life is not difficult. You don't have these difficult situations that you have to overcome, because that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, when you are working in your purpose, when you are working towards, when you're actively engaged in a task or a goal or what have you that moves you towards that purpose, it's a little easier than over here when it's just this constant wall. The difference over here is you may not want it as much. You're not as at peace or settled. Whereas when you're working towards your purpose and your goal, yes, there's these difficult things, but there's this sense of, and I don't know how to define it, it's this knowing deep inside, from deep down, that's coming and is at the top, is running through your veins, your heart, your soul, your mind, your thoughts, everything. It's all consuming of who you are. When you know it at that level, that is what you are meant to do, that drives you to be able to push through the frustrations that come from trying to learn new things and achieve your goals. So that's how I look at goal setting, and I hope that helps in some way, to just take a step back and look at what you're trying to do, to really take the time to sit down and figure out what it is, and from that what it is, figure out what it looks like. From what that looks like, figure out the time commitment, the requirement that it's going to take you daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly to move towards accomplishing that goal. And then from that point on, to look from a realistic standpoint in terms of your expectations and make sure that they align. Because what I find that sometimes when you go through this process, when you go through the deep diving process of trying to determine or figure out what that looks like, to define it on a very finite level, that sometimes you figure out, I don't want to do that. It doesn't align with what I truly am trying to do. And the time and effort, the commitment that I have to pour into it, it's not worth it. And it's okay. That's something else other people struggle with. And that may be my next topic next week. I think it will be my next topic next week. It's okay to walk away from things when you thought that you wanted. Whole part of going through the process of figuring out what you are trying to live for is that there are going to be moments when you're in the middle of it. You have put in hours, years, money, blood, sweat, and tears, all this effort into accomplishing or achieving this goal, and you realize, like, I don't really want to do this anymore. And it's perfectly okay to walk away from it, because it's part of the growth process. It's all part of the lessons that we are required to be tested on, so we can continue to grow, to level up, and move closer to our goals that move us to living wholeheartedly in our purpose. So I hope you are having an amazing day. Cheers to a year of focusing on what you boldly would love to accomplish this year. So I wear this, I know it's backwards, but it says it's a reminder to be bold from a place of love. I want to challenge you to be bold. Be bold in your goals for this year. Figure out what it is you're trying to accomplish and break it down, like I said earlier. So I am here for you. 2018 is going to be a significant year of growth for me, and I hope that you will follow me on this journey. If you want to follow me on this journey the next year, make sure you subscribe below, hit the notification bell, and thumbs up for if you're excited about setting some goals, achieving some things in 2018, or if you're just happy to be here in this space right now, thumbs up.